Hello Art12. This is your demonstration for refining or cleaning up your drawing before you start to pattern, and after you have finished your practice patterns, actually starting with pattern on your final draft. So the first thing I look for is any additional guidelines I have not erased. And I'm going to erase out lines I don't need that were there for the drawing purposes. I also used little sketched out guidelines for my imagery, so I want to make sure that's all cleaned up. If I have like my little circles are kind of sketchy, so I'm going to clean up and lightly holding my pencil in the middle or at the end, kind of refine the edges or lines. Because for patterning, you're going to want a definite clean edge. So I'm looking for other areas where I might have guidelines I don't need. Okay, so then in general, my drawing is a little bit dark, especially my division lines. Like if you can see it this well, it's too dark. I would like everything to be like super light like those. So before you start, you're going to go back with the pink eraser and you're going to lighten up. Use like the whole flat side or the whole flat bottom, and you're going to lighten everything up so you can barely see it. This is part of your craftsmanship grade. We don't want to see all your pencil. We just want people to believe that you drew this whole thing with just straight up Sharpie. We don't want to see all the planning parts to your drawing. We just want to see the beautiful finished result. Okay. So I'm also trying not to touch my drawing a lot. You do have a border, especially if you have eaten and haven't washed your hands, you're going to get grease on your drawing. So part of your craftsmanship grade is also keeping your paper nice and neat and not having like drinks spilled on it or whatever else might be. So if you're drawing it like the kitchen table or a coffee table, then you're going to want to make sure it's clean before you put your paper down. But we also gave you a board to work on top of so that you can always have a clean surface. So notice how nice and light that is. We want everything to be super light, super light. Okay, so I'm looking at my practice sketches. Also, I have my line and pattern packet for examples. I also have my practice that I previously finished. So I do like this one. I think I'm going to change it slightly. So I'm going to show you this one. I'll probably show you the swirls on how to start. So you can start with these, and then after this video, we'll talk about how to make patterns more original, more symbolic for you, perhaps. Okay, so if you have a pattern that you think you could just do by hand without any pencil, do that pattern first. So those swirls, I don't think I need to practice those. I don't need to draw them all with pencil first, because if you draw everything with pencil first and then you go back and do everything with Sharpie, that is double the time and double the work, and you're not getting extra time for this project. So you want to make sure that your pattern goes right up to the edge of your positive space or your object and right up to the edge of your divisions or any imagery you have included. So I'm going to just start with Sharpie, and I'm going right up to the edge, slightly smaller one, and I'm trying to make sure that I have pattern all along the edge of the hand. So I guess if I wanted to start all along the edge, I could, but I want a little variety, so I'm going to kind of hop around. And if you mess up with Sharpie, part of art is messing up and making it look like you meant to do that. And if you have enough patterning, nobody is really going to be able to tell. So the smaller ones are going to appear darker, the bigger ones will appear lighter, and it's okay to have range of value. So I would fill this whole section, like even along this part. So I went right up to this line division, I'm going right up to this line of the image, and I'm going right up to the line of my positive space. So I'm not doing any patterns inside of the hand, and this is called implied line, where eventually all the patterns are going to form the contour outline of your positive space, but there's not going to be an actual line there. And then when it's all said and done, we will go back and erase all of our pencil, and if I had drawn all the way down, you'd be able to see that. Okay, so next is if you're going to draw a little bit more of a complex pattern and you need to actually help yourself with pencil first. So I'm going to do, I'll do this section over here, that kind of calendar-y one with the curved line. So I'm going to draw the basic structure super lightly with pencil. So I'm going to do my curved lines. Super light. And I'm making this pattern bigger so that I have range of value, range of size. Okay, so I'm still holding my pencil in the middle, or if you can hold it at the end, excellent. Okay, from there, I think I can do everything by hand. So I would go over all those lines with Sharpie, trying to make sure it's like a continuous line. You're not starting and stopping. It's not a sketchy line. It's a nice clean line. I'm just going to do a portion of this pattern. It is up to you later if you want to outline your images and your sections, but you're not going to outline your actual positive space drawing of the guitar, fish, or hand. So if you want your pictures to stand out in the background, I think I am going to, so I would, with a ruler, go back and retrace my image. And then I would put pattern inside of my images as well. So to retrace everything, but just don't trace your positive space. So yes, you can trace your imagery. Yes, you can trace the lines that you use to divide the negative space. If you want your structure to be part of your pattern, like for this one, you can trace that. Okay. So I did have the swirls. I do like the swirls again. That way I have repetition from on the other side. I'm going to make sure that happens. But instead of like little squares to represent the calendar and time and all the time spent in quarantine, I think I'm going to do like little circles. So I'm going to do like a little circle in the upper corners. And I'll do it in that one, leaving space for the swirl. And then I think I'll add to that, but I want to get all that done first and then add into that one. Or I might just leave it open for now and I want it to be a really light value and then later go back and add some additional detail for a complex pattern. So remember, don't draw all of your patterns with pencil first. You don't have time for that. Plus, it ends up looking sloppy because then you have all that pencil to erase. And for many of you, you don't draw very lightly. So then we can see like all your pencil. And it's part of your grade not to have your pencil showing. So if I can just do it by hand, do it by hand. No one's perfect. Like that's not a perfect swirl. it doesn't exactly match the one next to it, and that's okay. Because in the end, it's going to be full of patterns, and no one's really going to notice like the areas that you might have messed up in. Okay, so I would finish that one out and I would leave it open, and I would go back and probably add a little more detail later on. So if you can, freehand and just start your pattern with Sharpie, excellent. If you're using straight lines, you need to use a ruler. The ruler will help you get a better grade. And it's obvious as an art teacher who used a ruler and who did not use a ruler. So again, if it's straight lines, use a ruler. Curved lines, you're freehanding. If it's something simple that I feel confident that I don't have to draw an underlayer of structure with pencil, then I'm not going to. So that's how you start your patterns. Remember to clean up your drawing, refine, erase stuff you don't need, make sure everything's divided, you have your images on there. If you can freehand, go ahead. If you need to draw the basic shapes or structure of your pattern first with pencil, that's okay, but don't draw very much with pencil. Most of it needs to happen with Sharpie. It will look better in the end, and it will enhance your grade. Okay, have fun. Good luck.